The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello and welcome to another Soccer to the Max as we prepare to talk about some big games that happened all on Sunday. We'll do that a little later. At least for two of the games. One of them we'll talk about in just a little bit. We also got a few MLS games we got to talk about. And, of course, because it starts technically before next Sunday, we're going to go ahead and give our Confed Cup 2017 predictions right here. The 8-team tournament starts on Saturday with Russia and New Zealand. I guess they wanted to give Russia a nice, confident win before they get into the heavy stuff, and then you get what could be some darling games on Sunday. But I'm not here by myself. Joining me, Miss Rachael McKriger.
I hate to, make enemies of any of my fellow Americans here, but I gotta root for Russia. It's my home.
Well, I hope they, I know there's probably going to be a lot of people going, oh, yay, CONCACAF, let's go for Mexico. But if you're really, really a U.S. fan, you're not rooting for the big rival. Root for somebody else. So maybe, I don't know about Russia either, but I don't see, there's nothing wrong with that. Root for your old team. And Erik, you rooting for somebody?
Mailman! But in all seriousness, Portugal. I mean, come on, Ronaldo. If you've seen my prediction article, I'm laying a little bit on you, brother. Help me out. Beat up on Messi, just get a little extra jab in. Hold up another trophy, Everything would be copacetic.
I think he's putting a lot on himself already, so you're just adding to that boat, Erik. How dare you?
Well, I mean, this is how it goes. Hell, I'm not getting any traction on any of my awesome advertisements, so I figure I gotta get traction on something.
Come on, these owl cookies, they need to happen. What's going on with these people,
I tweeted you, and I mean seriously. One top with Fruity Pebbles, another top with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Damn it, get in my mouth!
Jeez. Wow, that sounded so wrong. All right, so before we get into the wrong kind of conversation here. Yes, it did. So, anyway, before we get into
where were you on a phrasing moment? I thought you were supposed to help me out.
I totally dropped the ball on that one.
Damn it. Come on, guys. We got to be better at picking up the cues here. So, anyway, let's move on and not talk about things in people's mouths and actually discuss some on-the-pitch action, as MLS did have 3 games on Saturday, and then we'll get into basically international stuff after that. So you started with Chicago and Atlanta, and boy, Chicago keeps looking good. I mean, Atlanta had the nice Joseph Martinez coming back, but not much in his first game.
They botched that. They had him on the bench. They had Almiron on the bench, and they waited all the way until nearly the 70th minute to bring them in, knowing that you were already down thanks to a penalty, thanks to not managing to keep possession to save your life. You could have at least salvaged a draw on that one, but no.
And I told Erik before we started the show, I was particularly impressed with Chicago because, you have Erik, I need your help here, Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Ha!
And he's great in the midfield, of course. It's Bastian, but, Dax McCarty, he's such a professional, and he knows the midfield like the back of his hand. And so having them play that match without him, I'm sure it was tough. But, they stepped up, and with the absence of Dax McCarthy, he's on international duty. They had a pretty solid game in the midfield.
Yeah, certainly that was the problem, but they couldn't contain them at all. And since Bastian Schweinsteiger's been there, oh, come on, Erik.
Well, you did it too fast. I mean, you have to let a pregnant pause. I come in with a ha, and then you carry on.
I still paused.
For a split second. There are rules and regulations to this process, good sir.
So since he's been there, they're 7-2-3 with a plus 11 goal difference. So definitely he has made all the world of difference. You get Seleniak scoring on the first goal, then Nikolic gets that penalty, which with an obvious extended arm from Tyrone Mears, which if he would have just kept tucked to his, to his side when that ball came, they would have been all right. But that was pretty much Atlanta's day. Everything either went over the net or just nothing going on. And I probably if you might have had Almiron on earlier, I think Martinez came on right at the time you want him to come on. Give him 30 minutes to get back into things. Definitely didn't need to start or come on after the half. Try to get that rhythm, see where your team's at. But it's Chicago and then, once Chicago gets into that 5-man backfield, it's so hard to break them down, regardless of who you got out there. So,
I mean, they maybe had 3 chances the entire match, especially Villalba early, and they couldn't finish. They ruled the not finishing because Chicago did. Now, okay, if you're going to shake defenders, shoot. Don't wait, then try to do something. If you're going to be selfish, be fully selfish. If you're going to be unselfish, make the pass sooner.
Right, yeah.
That was borderline Carlos Rivas territory. Come on now, you're better than that.
Yeah, you really don't want to be compared to Carlos Rivas. That's like a cardinal sin right there. So, especially on that first goal, they got lucky. He got really lucky. Seleniak came behind him because he should have sent that first time to Nikolic, and it would have been in. And, he just had so many where it's like, dude, just pass. Just pass. It'll go in. You don't have to score every time for Chicago. You do just fine, man. Nobody needs to see you scoring and know that you do something for your team. But I get it. Forwards are selfish. But there is a thing that's too much. But, I don't know. I don't know if Martino was just kind of saying, I know you play to win the game, as Herm Edwards would say, but I wonder if he was just kind of saying, all right, I want to see how we do without two of my big players, and whatever result we get, it is what it is for a game that's a short weekend.
Well, he had the answer to that. Terrible. And I get exactly what you were saying about Martinez bringing him on as late as he did, but if you cannot string passes together, bring Almiron in at the half. Was that so hard?
No, but a lot of coaches don't like bringing players on at the half unless it's that we really need to change something, and you're only down 1-0 at that point. It's not the end of the world, so I can kind of see his point, but yeah, within the first 10 minutes, you need to do something. So we move from that game to another game that was sort of it's going to be known for a huge error, because it's the only reason that Montreal probably got a point from this game is that Sporting KC was absolutely just dominating some more on Montreal. Gerso was another just total domination game in here for him too. Dom Dwyer had opportunities. The goal comes, and then Sporting KC does their thing, protecting and still getting some chances there. And then you make a terrible back pass. You never pass the ball into the middle of the 18. Never.
Hashtag brain fart.
And he doesn't see Mancuso coming. Mancuso with a beautiful chip over the goalkeeper, by the way. And they get the point. And then I forgot his name. The guy that elbows Espinosa in the face. And then he still acts like he didn't do anything. Which is the worst.
I'm like, who do you think you are, Draymond Green? Come on now.
Yeah.
You know you got that foul.
He elbows him right in the face, and he's sitting there with that look of, oh my God, no way. No way. Of course you're going to get a red card.
He was down on the ground when I got here. He had that look on his face when I got here. Ref, I had nothing to do with it. Oh, gee. Well, this is kind of what happens when... And I'll say they kind of doomed themselves if you believe in superstition. Don't have a guy from Montreal trying to lead a cheer for your home team. That does not work. Yes, he is another professional athlete. Yes, you're bridging the gap, but Cairo Santos should have been enough. You kind of played yourselves, SKC. You played yourselves, and this is what happens.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because they really should have come away with the 3 points. They were the much better squad, and credit to Montreal, they kept going, and sometimes you get a little bit of luck, you know. Lots of credit to the Sporting KC keeper. He played really well too. I don't think he gets enough credit. Go ahead.
Was that Tim Melia starting?
Yeah, Tim Melia started. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been really good for them all season.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of the credit. You know, Bednick's been taking a lot of the. You know, he's a great goalkeeper. There's been quite a few wonderful goalkeeping performances this year, and I don't feel like he's getting the running as much. So we're giving you some credit here, Melia.
Yeah, Melia, he's the anchor of a fantastic defense. I mean, everybody looks at SKC and they think their back line, they don't give up goals. They're on this near unprecedented run like they were just a few years ago. Lest we forget, Melia not only leads MLS in goals against, but also save percentage.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough to do. So if he's not back there doing above and beyond his job, well, then you're not on this unprecedented defensive run. So kudos to Mealy for holding the fort down.
Yeah, and then Montreal probably got as many chances as they did because they were missing Beasler and Zuzi on the Sporting KC backline. So that's another thing to note there. And speaking of missing people, on your back line, the FC Dallas missed both of their anchors in the middle as Matt Hedges was out for U.S. national team duty and Walker Zimmerman's hurt. So you're starting Atiba Harris, who's fine. He's a utility guy. And Hume, and boy, it showed. They were just terrible defending. Man, Fernando Adi was tremendous in this game. Let me tell you. He just had so many chances, and there were so many he missed, too. So many near close ones. Just some of the times where, like, he just immediate turn, and it's right there, and you're like, wow, how did he miss that? I don't know, but he still scored at least once. I can't remember if he scored the other goal.
He did. He scored both. Another game, another brace. And at some point, I'm going to say this now. I'm not going to say maybe this season, but by the time we reach the end of the 2018 MLS season, he's going to have at least one hat trick to his credit. The man is just due.
Yeah, and this is without Nagby and Guzman, who are both on national team duty. They also had a goal called back, if I'm not mistaken, due to offside. So it could have been 3-0. It just... Dallas had some chances. Just
not offside. It was a handball.
Oh, okay.
Where the goal was called back.
I knew it was something. I was like, I know they had another ball go in the net, and then they didn't register on the. Just when you have to have so many more guys back than usual because you have the two center backs that are a liability for you, it creates problems. And Jesse Gonzalez, to his credit, made a few really good saves, but just it wasn't going to be Dallas's day.
He made some great saves, but at the same time, on one of Adi's goals, he did kind of look stupid trying to save a ball out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Adi was like,
going
"Oh,
anywhere.
hey, I'm 3 yards out. Thank you very much."
Yep. Thank you for the free goal. But so Portland now overtakes FC Dallas' spot in the standings. They now have 24 points to Dallas' 23, and SKC with the 2 drop points there don't help them. But and Chicago's now second in the East, right behind Toronto. So these short weekend games really help these teams, and that's it for MLS for the weekend, really.
Yeah, Chicago second in the East. Portland, I believe, now second in the West. You're at the point of the season where you're thinking, okay, time to talk about the red line in the first round buys.
Yep, they're very important. And sadly, I had my heart broken this morning with Venezuela losing to England in the Under-20 World Cup final. 1-0, probably should have been more, honestly, because of the first half, Venezuela just were getting absolutely run off the pitch. And I think they just didn't know how to adjust to that because it had been them running people off the pitch for most of the World Cup final, or most of the World Cup in general. And the second half, they got better once they put their number 10 in. And they had a few chances. Peñaranda missed a penalty, which would have tied the game and sent it into extra time. I got to give credit to the England goalkeeper. He made that save and a few other really big saves, which kept England in the match. And then they just couldn't do it. And England, lots of credit to them for winning the World Cup. First time ever for them. And that's a way to cap it off from Korea.
Yeah, you should have done the proper English thing and just drank afterwards.
I didn't want to drink at 8:30 this morning, so...
That's why I say it's the proper English thing to drink that early. Although, granted, Ireland would have partied a little bit earlier, so I can't entirely talk.
Maybe if I wasn't alone with my daughter here, I would have thought about it,
True.
But I didn't want to, you never know. Sometimes you drink a little bit too much out of depression, and I can't let the kids see me like that. It's sad. So, speaking of international stuff, we go from one international competition ending to another one starting next week, as already mentioned. Confederations Cup 2017, the Tournament of Champions, going on here with Russia, New Zealand, Portugal, and Germany in Group A, correct?
I don't think all 3 of them are in the same group, but yeah, it's an unbelievable first. 3 UEFA nations in one Confederations Cup. That, I've never really grasped that or how I feel about it, but that's kind of the way that it shakes down. Group A, Russia, New Zealand, Portugal, and Mexico.
Oh, Mexico, that's right. I was like, okay, Germany sounds wrong. I think we're honestly looking at Portugal and Mexico. Even though they just announced that Rafa Marquez, Miguel Layún, and Andrés Guardado are not going to play in the U.S. match. They will probably be fine for the Confederations Cup, even though they will be without Jesus Corona, who has a family issue and will not play in that tournament. That's going to be a big blow for them. He's very critical for them in up front.
He's got named after beer and another nickname after beer. Of course he's critical to them.
Which I like when Jorge Perez Navarro tells that story. I think that's really cool. That it has to do with one of the teams being sponsored by one beer company and the other team being sponsored by another beer company, and so they call him that just to screw with the other team.
I know. I heard that against Honduras, and I'm like, okay, that would be on the back of my jersey pretty much everywhere I played. Just to
I wonder
get
how
that
much free Tecate he got.
Right?
Even though, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that beer, but
I'm not
whatever.
a fan of
you know?
either of them, but
It is what do you think, Rachel? I know you're going for Russia, but...
Of the beer?
Well, the beer, how about, the beer and the teams here. Yeah, what do you think of the beer?
We can talk about the beer because I'm still 20, so hit me up on October 3rd, and I'll get back to you on that one. But the Confederations Cup, I want to root for Russia, and I'd love to see them win just because it's my home, but no, I think Mexico's going to take it. I think they're tough to beat. It's going to be a tough one between them and Portugal. I still think Mexico will still come out of their group number one. I think Portugal will. But Germany's not to be overlooked as well. And a big reason I say that is because, yes, they have Thomas Muller and a lot of other stars, but there's a particular someone who plays for my favorite club team in Germany named Lars Stindl, who has been phenomenal this club season and just got his first international call-up, and he's playing right now in their friendly matches, so he's certainly someone to keep an eye on.
Certainly, and I think it's going to be between Portugal and Mexico. I think Portugal winds up coming out of that group number one for me, but if you go on to the other side with Germany, Australia, Chile, and why am I forgetting the other team? Cameroon.
How dare you forget the Africans?
I should not. That's bad on my part. Cameroon's always dangerous. Just sometimes it depends on, the day, honestly, if, they get some chances and some luck most of the time. I think they might win one or at least nick a point here, but don't sleep on those Aussies. They're pretty good. They're not winning Asia for nothing. I still got to say it's between Germany and... Why am I blanking on that? I don't have these things in front of me, so I'm just going
Germany
off my...
and Chile?
Yeah, it's going to be between Germany and Chile. Honestly, I think Chile might wind up first in the group. Alexis Sanchez has been terrific for Arsenal this season. I think Germany winds up a really close second, and you get the 4 expecteds in the semifinals. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Chile upsets Portugal, and I'll go with Germany beating Mexico and Chile-Germany rematch in the final, and I don't think Chile's going to do it twice. I think Germany winds up winning.
Personally, the way I see it, I do have a rematch in the final, but I think the rematch is going to come from the opposite group. I think Portugal and Mexico, they're going to go 1-2, and I think they're going to have the confidence enough. Portugal, I honestly see them beating Germany in the semifinal, and they would beat Mexico in the final. Now, as far as the second spot in Group B, it's going to come down to Chile and Australia, because Australia, they've been playing to a lot of draws, and they do have a capable scorer, multiple, other than Tim Cahill, but how are they going to do in the Confederations Cup when they're not representing Oceania? That's a big question mark. With the way the group is set up, I think that Chile-Australia match could go a long way in determining second, but I don't see them going too much farther than that.
Who do you got going through, Rachel?
Oh, jeez. What is it? 3-3 on each side?
It's 4 and... Well, you got 4 in one group and 4 in the other.
Yeah, and then to go on, it's 3-3, right?
No, it's 2 and 2.
Oh, it's 2 and 2? I'm sorry, Russia. I'm so sorry. They're not making it through, and it really, really hurts me to say that, and I'm so sad to say that, but they're not going through. Please don't stone me to death if I ever come over there.
Walk around drinking vodka. That helps.
I'll keep that in mind. Group A, Portugal and Mexico. And Group B, Chile and Germany.
Who you got matching up with who?
Oh, jeez. I'm not good at the guessing game. Let's go with Portugal and Chile, with Portugal winning. Mexico and Germany, with Mexico taking the edge and Mexico winning the tournament.
Oh, there you go. We got 3 different winners here, so that's it's gonna be fun. At least one of us gotta be right? Unless Chile just takes the whole thing, so then we're just screwed.
Or like Cameroon just wins the whole thing.
That would be amazing. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, except I don't have any Cameroon garb that I can wear and taunt people with, so that would necessitate a shopping trip for me.
Well, the best one would be if Australia won, but I don't see it.
No. Granted,
I get the Socceroos.
I mean, personally, no offense to the Socceroos, but Australia, we know where your heads are at. You're looking forward to the Rugby World Cup. You've got your Australian Football International Cup coming up soon. We understand. It's okay.
Aren't the Australians also in the Tournament of Nations that the U.S. women's team is holding?
Yes.
Yeah, they have that coming up. They can do that.
Exactly.
There you go. See, a lot going on for Australia outside of this tournament, but... All right, so we gave you our Confederations Cup predictions. We'll have the team previews up on the website as well for you. And make sure you check out Rachel's 40-man Gold Cup roster article out there, too. It'll be up there by anything on Monday at the latest. And, yeah, Rachel's got to head off to work. So we'll be
Enjoy
back.
The game.
Should be fun games. Hopefully the U.S. has a better performance than it last time.
I leave nothing to doubt, but I have pizza when my oven decides to cooperate and sangria to look forward to, so,
wow.
Yeah. Either way, I win.
So, we'll be... Erik and I will be talking about the U.S. women's national team playing Norway, and... the U.S. men playing the big game against Mexico in just a little bit. But we're going to take a little break so that Rachel can head off.
Bye, guys.
All right, we are back after we had to bid adieu to Rachel. And now we are here talking about the United States women's and men's national teams here, as the women played first against Norway. Actually, these games are sort of similar in a way, in that the opposite team of the U.S. team was pressing a lot more. The U.S. got a goal. Unfortunately for the men, Mexico actually scored on them, and they weren't able to get anything else. The women were able to hold on to their goal, even though Norway was certainly pressing them as well. And, you know, the women win, the men get a draw. I think the draw is sort of what Bruce Arena set out with, and if they got anything else, that was going to be gravy. Now, granted, you know, Costa Rica could win their game on Tuesday, and that puts the U.S. in a situation where if they want to get second, they have to beat Costa Rica and then, just keep up the goal difference after that. But there was a point where the U.S. probably could have. Let me go backwards here. Let's just go ahead and get with the women were first. So, what did you see out of that game?
A very, very uninspired performance. I mean, seeing the women against Norway, it was a carbon copy of how they played against Sweden. Christian Press, very good job running across face to get a goal, but can you believe that was the U.S.'s only shot on target that entire match?
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, we could just put nothing together, and Rose Lavelle, I saw pictures of Twitter with her and the team watching the men's match, crutches beside her, hope she's okay. Mallory Pugh picked up an injury during warm-up, so that was a very last-minute change to the lineup, but going back to Lavelle, she seemed to me a little bit too quick on the trigger to try to shoot, to where if she had just waited half second and a half, let the ball fall to her, she could have easily had a brace in that match.
Yeah, she could have. And it was just one of the, she had her goal in the first one against Sweden, and I think it might have encouraged her to be shooting more, and that's probably what happened here. I think there's also an element of, okay, we're only up 1-0. Let's get one and put distance between us. And I don't know what Jules was thinking here, but these are friendlies. I mean, this isn't like the U.S. where you're at and look, I get it. You're in Norway, okay. You're not at home, but these are friendlies. Just go for it. What does it matter in the end?
I mean, and you're going up against a team in Norway. They're right on the heels of, with coming up, their 2017, their championships, Euro Women's 2017.
Right.
So you want to get a big win against potentially surprisingly big European opponent, depending on how Norway does in that tournament. But you saw they were going for getting a big result against us. Why don't we just throw caution to the wind?
Yeah, I don't know. Norway looked like they wanted this a heck of a lot more than the U.S. did. And honestly, I was surprised that Norway didn't score at least once, because that's what it felt like the entire time. That if it wasn't because we have such a great backline with Becky Sauerbrunn and them just getting over and clearing the ball, and every time that Norway was going to have something threatening, they were there to cover. And that's what you need from your defense. And I guess I understand that Joe Ellis kind of relies on that a little bit, but still.
You relied on it too much, because there were wide open spaces and Norway just kept finding a path, and we never closed that down. So it's like, where was the midfield shape in that one? Why was there so much open space to where Norway could just run?
Yeah, I certainly just, I just don't. I think she just kind of went in there with the idea of, we're going to defend, we're away from home, and that's what they did. And you just have to be able to kind of go for it a little bit more. And just, I don't know, just very disappointing, these two friendlies, honestly. With the tournament coming up, maybe you're waiting for that to show a bit more. But
you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I understand that you don't want to go 100% in both of these because they are friendlies. I get that. But if you have potential there, you need to turn it into effort and turn that effort into better results. Because other teams are coming in from this tournament. Now they're feeling more comfortable in saying they could pick us off. Then what?
Right. And you don't need to give teams like Japan, Brazil, and Australia any kind of confidence. So,
given history over the past 5 years, no.
Yep, you're right about that. So let's get on to the men here who have a more concerning story, just because these games do matter. Obviously, they're okay in third place. Nothing is set in stone, though, because... Well, I mean, look, you need to be winning at home, so that shouldn't be a problem. You should be okay in third place right now.
Well, yes, but okay in third place, and where the U.S. is in third place, it is too tenuous to me. And winning at home, fine, but we dropped a home match. That's a problem. And we had a chance to get that back on their turf, no less.
Hey, look, Mexico came, and the U.S. had that early goal with Michael Bradley, which is total surprise because he basically just caught the goalkeeper sleeping and just blasted it into the net. What a beautiful goal that was.
Oh.
And then Mexico woke up a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact that Mexico never seemed 100% right. And I got to say, Bruce Arena did not start the best 11, especially for this situation. I can understand dealing with a couple of key injuries, trying to get some players some rest with a quick turnaround. Don't get me wrong. But as we talked about with the 40-man roster and as you kept pounding on the 6 changes for the Gold Cup, he had a chance with who he took with him, had a chance to make key changes, using up those 3 subs wisely in the second half. I really don't think he did. And to me, I was going to be one of the first to proclaim it as a 1-1 win in my mind, but how things shook out early and how those last 20 minutes went for us, that's 2 points dropped. It's 2 points dropped.
Well, I mean, we've got to point out, too, that Bobby Wood missed a clear chance right in front of goal.
Yeah, after being elbowed in the face.
The referee was obviously looking out for himself because he knows if he throws a red card in that moment, there's a chance the crowd starts throwing stuff.
Hey, you take it like a man. You think of, who does he think he is? Referees in Cleveland? Ooh,
look, we gotta be careful. Look, listen, you gotta be careful in those situations. Let's be honest, okay? We've seen fans get upset and rush the field and do all that. I mean, the Mexican fans, they're crazy, all right? They're passionate.
I've seen it all the time. I've seen with Mexican fans. I've seen fans, and even in places like Saudi Arabia, having celebratory gunfire after their team scores. I get it, but at the same time, this is your job.
I agree it's his job. He should do it. But I'm just saying, I'm looking at it from his perspective.
That's why I wouldn't be a FIFA ref and refereeing these matches in Mexico, because, hey, I'm not up for that task.
Right, exactly.
I know my limits.
Yeah, I think it's just something where, he didn't call, and then there was another one too. That was the one on Bobby Wood, and there was another one as well.
Yeah,
that they didn't call
that.
Right before that. And that one didn't even get a card. It just, it's because it was...
Yeah, so you honestly, it could have been at the very least a yellow or potentially a straight red within 5 minutes. And then he finally waits, card in his pocket, card in his pocket, card in his pocket. Then all of a sudden you give persistent infringement to Yedlin? Come on. I get it, but you should have done your job sooner.
Yeah. Uh, but hey, these referees were kind of weird the whole night. So
Well, I'll say.
it's I don't want to put it too much on referees because it's not like it's their deal here.
Right, and I'm not putting the whole shooting match on them, but they had a big chance to set the tone early, and they missed that opportunity. Now, the physical play kind of went down by itself to a certain extent in the second half as we started policing each other, which I appreciate, but I don't know. Things like that just get stuck in my craw.
I think we also got to look at it from all the injuries that Mexico had as to why they weren't.
Well, hey, they didn't have their pre-game or their pre-match can of Tecate, so these kinds of things happen.
Yeah, you had Marco Fabian go down with that. He went down doing a regular challenge, and I think his legs got cut under him or whatever it was, and he stayed down for a while.
They had to bring out the cart.
Yeah, DeMarcus Beasley, they pulled him out on the stretcher. He came back. So did Fabian.
Well, Fabian came back, and they did put him on the stretcher. They wanted to put Beasley on the stretcher, but he was able to get up and kind of hobble off the pitch, and he was able to come back on. But I think, honestly, that should have been one of those subs. Beasley should not have stayed in the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah, and then I don't think he should have either. He would have had to put in Fabian Johnson, which I don't know that Bruce Arena wanted to do. That seemed kind of weird.
Yeah, he clearly didn't. He wanted to put in Graham Zusi with like 5 minutes left. And then that just kept
was like putting in Carly Lloyd with 5 minutes left with the women.
Yeah, but they actually put her in with Zusi, who was just waiting, and then all of a sudden full time, and he's not even in there. So what was the point?
Just to put him in, just to make that change, I guess. Because it certainly wasn't to try to actually go win the game, because they didn't do that either. They were missing, 3 of their big guys in Mexico. They were missing Corona, so I think that's kind of why they were off. They didn't have the usual guys that would start for them. Chicharito had a few opportunities that one where I think that would have gone out anyway, but he had to basically boot it, above Guzan, and then Gonzalez went and kicked it out to make sure.
Yeah,
I think that was on the way out.
Yeah, it did look like if it didn't land on the full behind that end line, it would have bounced that way.
Yeah, Pulisic was still pretty good, though.
He was.
He looked really good at times. He was making the right runs. He was making some good passes. Just, I didn't like the Adiola pick up front either.
No.
He was making more fouls than anything.
No, I mean, to me, when in that kind of position, you need someone relevant. Ariola wasn't even relevant. In Pulisic, to his credit, he kind of knew that, and especially in those later runs, he's like, okay, you get me the ball, I've got to make things happen. And I don't know. Something about this tactically with this team just seemed weird to me. And then even with the Altidore substitution, it's like, how does his size help in this case?
Well, the Penguins officially are Stanley Cup champions again.
Oh! And that was a 1-0 game. Well, kudos to them. My life is a lot easier. I mean, I might see your argument as far as this not leading Nashville SC to MLS. And if that winds up being the case, I'll take that.
I don't think it matters either way. I was just, having fun with you as far, just because possibly winning sort of helps more just because people are excited and it might mean they're accepting of more sports in their town, but I don't know that losing really does anything for them either other than just being kind of upset if you're a Nashville Predators fan because you got so close.
Well, yeah, you're upset, but you should be glad that you got there for the first time. And hey, if you want to take your mind off of it, isn't this Bonnaroo? Or didn't that just end?
I don't. But, I mean, does everybody that is a Predators fan also go to Bonnaroo? I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, they intertwine, and you're also within the same state. It's not that far.
Well, getting back to the game, this does mean that Bruce Arena is still undefeated in his 7 games as manager of the United States again. They now don't play again until the Gold Cup, which is only a month away, and then they have to play the World Cup qualifiers again in September.
Asterisk. Right before the Gold Cup, we do have a friendly against Ghana.
Yeah, they always have like 1 or 2 games to get them ready for the Gold Cup or whatever, but still, I think they went in with the idea of getting a draw. I think if you really wanted to go for it, you would have put in more attack-minded players. It's obvious by what he did that is not what he was trying to do.
Which was kind of stupid.
Yeah, I agree. You kind of got to try to take a situation when it's presented to you.
Yeah. And you think about this. So this is why I say third place. While okay, it's tenuous. Imagine we get these 3 points here at Azteca. Then we beat Costa Rica at home, which with this kind of confidence boost is much more doable. Now, you're not just talking about seeing out these last 4 matches to qualify. You're like, okay, we've stolen points and we have a shot to win the Hex. Can you imagine the kind of worst to first story if that was still in play?
Oh, Lord. People would not stop talking about Bruce Arena till no end. But
until he messes up in the World Cup, which I'm still banking on for some reason. But he would have had.
Well, we should not be banking on that because that's not good for the United States to be banking on the coach making an error.
Look, it's not good for us, but I mean, A, it's Bruce Arena, and B, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, when we're in World Cups on European soil, we don't do too well.
Well, everything's meant to be broken at some point. You gotta hope that you do better later. 2006 was not good, obviously.
No.
But
nor was 1990, nor was 1998. You kind of see a pattern here?
Well, 1998, I don't think we had a good team whatsoever. And 94, if it wasn't in the United States, I don't think we would have done as well.
No, that's why I said 1990 when it was in Italy. Yeah, we stunk it up. 98 in France, we stunk it up. 06 in Germany, we stunk it up. Again, You see where I'm going with this.
Right. I agree with you. But again, at some point, you can't be blaming it on where you're at or whatever. You got to say, look, we've got a deeper team than we ever have. Let's go.
Yeah, you mean like in 06. Look,
06 was a travesty. I think, but you can't sit there and blame it on a damn place that you're at anymore. It's the team just didn't play well.
Exactly, and wasn't that around the time right before that we had literally our best team ever, and that's when we were up to 5th in the FIFA ranking?
I think there's also overconfidence that happens, and let's face it, the U.S. is much better when they're an underdog. When they are overconfident, they do not play well. When they're favorites, they fail almost every single time.
That's another reason why I don't have 100% faith in Bruce Arena.
Yeah, but they're going to come in as an underdog regardless of, where they're at, unless they're in an absolutely shitty group, which probably won't happen unless you somehow miraculously win first in the Hex. And even then, that's not guaranteed because we've seen CONCACAF get screwed like that before. And somehow, Mexico, regardless of where they land, they get some easy group because they're Mexico. That's how it winds up for them. But
look,
yeah, go ahead.
It's FIFA. We all know who sucks whose dick, so come on now. Mexico.
Well, now Galati's apparently running a lot more things with the new president. So.
Okay. So yeah. Maybe we use flavored condoms in that situation. I don't know.
I don't know how that's working, but Bruce has always been a pragmatist. It's the way he does things. He basically showed that here. Had they lost, I think I would be just absolutely railing on him more than I am right now. But they're not. Oh, he's not. He doesn't really care about me. He's not Jurgen. He's the opposite of Klinsmann. He's not Mourinho, but he's not like, oh, I want to make sure we play pretty soccer and do all this and that and whatever.
And
he just wants to get a win.
And I get that we can't always be Joga Bonito, but you can't be overly pragmatic.
I'll agree with you there. Again, he's got to realize. But on the other side of the coin, what happened when they started going on the counter? They scored that goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if the U.S. starts attacking more? That means Mexico goes on the counter more, and they bury one again, and we lose.
Well, and again, that nearly happened. After that deep corner, which we literally couldn't get our heads around it, Guillermo Ochoa, great throw, set up a great counter, caught us napping. Next thing you know, that was just hairy, but
yeah, it's I don't want to go around in circles. The U.S. got to win. They got a draw. You get out of here with 4 points. That was the minimum that was required. I'm sure that they wanted more.
Yeah.
But
do I need to go back to the scene in Office Space where the boss was talking about pieces of flair?
No.
All right then. But you
can go ahead and do it for the funny part. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. 15 is the minimum pieces of flair. Did you see Brian? He's got 37 pieces of flair. Why can't you be more like him? 4 points is the minimum, but 6 is wonderful. 6 is delicious. 6 is the Reese's Dairy Queen Blizzard after the pepperoni pizza and sangria from Aldi. Get the Blizzard! Come on now.
You aren't wrong, man. You aren't wrong.
Yeah, especially when you can get the pizza and a liter and a half of sangria for only $12. I mean, my God. Delicious and a deal at that.
So how was the sangria? Did you
play
a drinking game with yourself?
No, I didn't. Although I did mix my second glass with some of the Mike's Hard Watermelon that I still had, and it canceled out a bit of the after kick. Made it very smooth.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, man. I think we have reached the end here. So thank you everybody for joining us here. Hope you enjoyed our shortened version of the show because there wasn't a whole lot to talk about in MLS and there was no NWSL this week.
I have a feeling, though, that'll be made up for next week. Don,
oh, yeah.
I've been seeing it scheduled, Don. You can't keep doing this to us, Don. Come on now.
And then the Confed Cup starts on Saturday with the 2 terrific games on Sunday.
Hey, but at least with the Confed Cup, I get to have a little football with my breakfast. I can't argue with that.
Nah, I can't argue with that either. Much better than having to wake up at like 4 a.m. So.
Exactly.
But all right, until next week, till Wednesday or Thursday, I got to look at the schedule there. We will see you later. Make sure that you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, WTMNet.com, YouTube, wherever you listen to us. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that review wherever you listen to us. Make comments. It helps us out.
Would it kill you to give us 5 stars and some good comments? I mean, come on.
Come on. We try here for you.
Exactly. Maybe that'll help get those sponsors to finally respond to some of my tweets.
That probably would help immensely. Yes. The higher you on the food chain, the bigger chance you have of 9 Cookies actually, responding to us. But
hey, 9 remember, my birthday's on the 23rd. I know you guys deliver. I'll pay for shipping if I have to. Hint, hint. Wink, wink.
Let's
nudge, nudge.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Make it happen for that man. He's at Squid Sports Head. I'm at WTM Sean. Follow at Rachael McKriger as well. And we'll see you later, everybody.
Peace.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.